Com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
No, not you. Not you. Your organization's terrible.
On AM 560.
You are fake news.
The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. A historic election last night in Chicago. Got two black female nominees or contestants now to be the next mayor of the city of Chicago. And the question is, it doesn't really matter. Other than checking a box saying we made history by electing a black female mayor of Chicago. Maybe a black gay female mayor of Chicago, of course, Lori Lightfoot. Or are we in Frost's poem, The Road Not Taken, where, of course, as you know, being a student of poetry, Amy.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
The Road Not Taken didn't matter. Didn't matter. Because you'll never really know, so why fret about it? However, we really will know in this case, because when the business and civic elites and the Fourth Estate, I'm talking to you, Tribune Editorial Board, Crane, Chicago, throw in with the central planners, and then the opposition party surrenders and functionally ceases to exist, you're on the path to Marxism. And isn't that where Chicago's going? Let's hear from Tony and Lori,
yes,
and see if you can distinguish between the two.
Okay, ready? Here you go.
Because I remember when progressive wasn't a positive.
Still isn't.
It was at best a euphemism for unelectable. Those of us who proudly claimed it had to fight to transform the political landscape to make it clear that the people's values are progressive values.
Okay, so we have that.
And of course, I want to thank those who had the courage, and let me understand that, courage to stand with our campaign against the machine. That's right.
Yeah. And then she went on to thank Robin Kelly and a region of the Illinois Education Association, the teachers union.
Right.
Lori Lightfoot petitioned for the support of CTU. She just didn't get it.
She did get endorsed by the Chicago Sun-Times.
Right, which is the AFL-CIO newspaper. So also, not present, but present in spirit, they're the ideological North Star of both of those ladies, I would suggest.
I think it's also fair to point out that when we were in Moscow, for example, I think most of the people here also were extremely impressed by their public transportation system. The stations themselves were absolutely beautiful, including many works of art, chandeliers that were beautiful. It was a very, very effective system. Also, I was impressed by the youth programs that they have, their palaces of culture for the young people, a whole variety of of programs for young people, and cultural programs which go far beyond what we do in this country. We went to a theater in Yaroslavl, which was absolutely beautiful, had 3 separate stages where cultural programs are put on by professional actors and actresses, including a puppeteer area. And the cost, the highest price of a ticket that you can get, was the equivalent of $1.50.
So this is what you have to look forward to. You were going to have wonderful chandeliers and puppet shows, and the likes of Bernie Sanders will come to town, as he is coming to town. He literally is coming to town.
Yeah, Sunday, huge rally at your backyard.
The timing of this couldn't be more appropriate. And regale you with stories of awe and wonder at the marvels of central planning. This is Bernie Sanders 30 years ago talking about the Soviet Union. And, listen to the cant that spills out of those holes in the middle of these people's heads. It is mindless. There is no mind there. There is just buzzwords and catchphrases and propaganda that runs 180 degrees counter to the reality on the ground, which is what you heard particularly from Toni Preckwinkle last night, as she told you, Chicago, of all that she's done, these 30 years she spent in public office. And what does Chicago have to show for it? Worst black unemployment rate of any major city. Worst housing market of any major city. worst violent crime problem of any urban center, one of the worst school systems in the country, a sex abuse scandal that has gone unattended for at least a decade, and that's just the Tribune reporting. The only major city in the country losing population. Highest tax burden in the city. Shall I go on? That's what you get. So that's what we're going to get, isn't it? For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Chicago Tribune's John Cass, famed columnist of the Chicago Tribune. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was slitting my wrists while you were talking about all the great things that are going to happen.
All right, well, bandage those wrists up and
stop the bleeding.
And tell me why I'm wrong.
Put a feral cat on it. That's what I say.
Hey,
listen,
kitty cat Cass.
You're not wrong, but I think that I just like the desperation in Tony's voice.
Yeah,
there's the desperation in her voice, and her. I mean, going so low as to play the grandmother card.
Oh, yeah, we have that.
Night. Mm-hmm. You dropped that grandmother card on Lori Lightfoot. That was tough. That desperation is just part of what the C-suiters and business types are feeling, because they've got that say. What are they going to do? They're going to go with Tony? No. They're going to go with Lori, but she's going to be able to dictate terms.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you trust Lori Lightfoot if she were to be elected our mayor?
Do I trust her?
Do you think she's going to change
things around? I
don't
trust
around?
Any politician. Pardon me?
Do you think she's going to change things around?
Yeah, I do. I think she's got to be. I'm talking my column out that I'm writing right now for the web, but she's. You've got to think that she's going to be that somewhat of a change agent. That I don't know what Tony Preckwinkle is going to change about what. I mean, that's kind of static. Bernie Sanders, 1933, right?
Yeah. But wait, why would she change anything? Did you hear all that she's done for the city? Everything is going quite well.
I wonder though about the business community. Now, if they had gone a different way, like I had suggested, they might have been.
Well, yeah, I mean, right. So Daley and Big Finance really got embarrassed last night, and they deserved it. And my suggestion, and get your reaction to this, is, hey, this is what you get when you play the we're going to be hands off, wait to see what turns out, and then we'll make the least worst choice we can make and say this is the best we could do. When in point of fact, if all those folks who got together and put $7 million on the table for Bill Daley had actually done a recruitment, had actually engaged civically the way that they sort of pantomime they do on so many fronts, if they engaged civically and said, we're going to find the right candidate to navigate these choppy waters that Chicago is currently facing, then
the right candidate was out there. They didn't want to fund them. That's it. I mean, clearly.
You think
what would have been best for the city of Chicago would have been a Paul Bellis, Lori Lightfoot campaign. They had the candidate, and I have to say, Greeks didn't back Paul Bellis either. And Maria Pappas, I know who you are. You know what I mean? There were people out there that didn't back him, but now that's water under the bridge. The main thing is you're going to see Lori Lightfoot. Now, what about the city council, Dan and Amy? Mm-hmm. What about the city council? Where are they going to go?
Well, I don't. Well, who was Bill Daley? Who is he going to back? Do you think he'll obviously Lori Lightfoot or Willie Wilson? Because that's 54,000 people voted for Willie Wilson, 76,000 voted for Bill Daley.
You don't own those votes. They don't own.
I don't
votes.
think anybody wants Bill Daley's endorsement.
Yeah, why would you want that?
I mean, why would you want it? The best thing I saw was my cousin Johnny sent me a clip from True Confessions where Charles Durning is dancing a little jig, and I want to make that into a GIF of some kind. It's just perfect.
By the way, that's John Cass making things into GIFs. Boy, we are living in strange times.
Hey, what about Burke? Are you going to tip the hat?
What you mean, Burke?
Tip the green cap?
Yeah, who is Burke going to back? Is that what you're asking?
No.
I'm kidding.
Burke needs a tip of the hat. Indicted in January, elected in February, like you said. I have to give the guy credit for knocking on every door in his ward and getting himself elected.
That's what, he said. He said he spent the summer going door to door. With his driver outside the houses that he went to visit?
Ann Burke?
Yeah.
His driver? With the Bentley? They took the Bentley out to go door to door?
Now, you guys are missing something. He had the mariachi band right behind him as he was strolling up and down.
He is a famed Latino community leader. There's no question about it.
Right. Donde esta?
So what about that? What about Gropo Joe, Arena, and Foie Gras Moore all getting bounced, and some runoffs too, including one involving El Gallito's daughter
and Deb Mel.
We're going to sit back and watch the left devour itself. Okay, that's what we'll see. But in the meantime, Scott Wagsback, who was my pick to become the chairman of the council's finance committee, was up with Lori Lightfoot the other night at her acceptance speech, victory speech. And I think that if they do some changes, like the changing of how to properly disclose whether you have financial interest or not, and that's nonpartisan, I think there'll be some changes made that could create a different climate.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would like to see that if you're a lawmaker or an alderman, you cannot be a lawyer and work on property tax reductions.
Well, how about this? You have to declare it before you shape the debate for months on a bill.
Well, don't
you have to just stand up and declare it right away?
Well, I mean, don't you think that when Ed Burke is acquitted, he should return to be the finance committee chairman?
Well, that might be it, but will Mayor Lightfoot want him back?
With respect to,
because I think Lori Lightfoot is going to be the mayor of Chicago.
Yeah, that's right. I wanted to develop that a little bit more. You would think, I think the outsider would say, oh, Toni Preckwinkle's got the public sector union. She had all this financial backing. She's the Cook County Board president. She's going to win. Why not?
She's history. She's yesterday's news. She lost touch. Look, the white boy. Let's do stereotypes, okay?
Okay.
The white boys with their pink fuzzy hats, wearing a fleece and drinking a cafe Americano. They're going and voting for Bernie. They're going to go for Lori. They're not going to go for the old Toni Preckwinkle playing the grandmother card. That's not going to happen.
And she already has a job. I mean, and she's not doing a good job at the current position that she holds, which is Cook County Board President.
What about the intersectionality of it all? You've got black, lesbian, and gay versus black, female.
You paused.
How does that work?
Yeah.
How does that? What's the leftist formula on that, Dan?
Well, I mean, I guess it would be interesting in part to see whether second wave feminists of the Gloria Steinem era, whether they're going to be with Grandma Preckwinkle or they're going to be with Lori.
They're going to be with Lori, and so will and because of she'll be around, and I've met her wife. She's a very nice person, and I like Lori, obviously, as you know from my columns. But I think this will be a national media story, a big national media story. Black, lesbian, lawyer, etc. Check all the boxes. She will become the darling of the national media, and Bernie's coming into town this week. It'd be interesting to see how that plays.
I wonder if she'll be on stage with him. Maybe.
Pardon me?
I wonder if she'll be on stage with him when he comes to town.
Why would Bernie get involved in a runoff in Chicago?
Oh, he's not going to get involved.
The other thing, too, it's worth noting, John, you know how it's the reverse of the Rise at Great America here? You've got the Yosemite Sam arm, and if you're taller than the arm, you can't be mayor of Chicago. Lori Lightfoot also clears that.
Oh, be nice.
Right? Diminutive Democrats in the mayor's office?
She's rather short. She's rather short, but so am I.
That's why That's why I suggested you run for mayor. I know.
I did. I know. You and Tom Bevan both tried to get me in, and I did, but there was a problem.
What?
I couldn't get the Tribune to endorse me.
Exactly. I know what you're saying.
I got a million of them.
The Tribune editorial endorsement of Bill Daley. That will go down as one of the most comical commentaries I've ever read. Truly, I mean, onion quality. It was fantastic.
Well, that's my news. Look, I don't break. Look, that's my newspaper. The newspaper endorsed Bill Daley.
Yes.
Enough said. Okay, someone wise. Dan Proft said, "Quit crying about if wishes were horses, then beggars would ride." He just said that 20 minutes ago. So now don't play that game with me on my paper.
All
right.
I
love my paper.
All right.
Paper. I'll tell you one thing.
All right, stop rolling around in newsprint. All right, what?
What do the owners of the Sun-Times feel like now that they couldn't even get Susana Mendoza an endorsement in their own paper?
Well,
how's that?
Yeah.
Well, Susana Mendoza lost because she used to date Proco Joe. And Joe.
She lost because she's insufferable, and she didn't clear the credibility threshold. She didn't even come close to the credibility threshold. That's the other factor with Lori Lightfoot. But John, let me ask you this: Chicago police. Lori Lightfoot's relationship with Chicago police is dicey, to say the best, I would suggest. And so how does that play?
I'll give you a little insight into the column tomorrow. And today, I guess it'll be up when I write it. Lori Lightfoot, she might have that problem. But who do the cops dislike more?
Yeah.
I'd say they don't like Kim Foxx. And Kim Foxx, state's attorney, who doesn't seem to be prosecuting many people, she's the protege of Tony Preckwinkle. And I think that's going to play big on the southwest and northwest side.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's why we have John Cass on the show. John Cass, Chicago Tribune columnist. Look forward to his forthcoming column today and tomorrow on the mayor's election. John, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Adios, amigos.
See ya.
Ciao. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is